For every stadium built, there are 100 stadium designs that weren't built. That's not an actual statistic, but it's probably something like that. And some designs have blue seats, some have white, some designs are incredible, and some are shite. These 10 stadiums are the former. But seriously, you might be a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but a lick of paint couldn't hurt. We start off with the Libya National Stadium. This spectacular stadium was designed for the 2017 African Cup of Nations, which ended up being hosted by Gabon due to the ongoing war in Libya. You know, the more I hear about wars, the less I like them. The three arches that make up this stadium are a reference to the Greek meaning of Tripoli, three cities. The San Diego Chargers were looking to move from the dated Qualcomm Stadium, currently being demolished, and San Diego Stadium was set to be their new home in downtown San Diego, not far from Petco Park. The design featured a retractable roof and an attached convention center. The Chargers did end up moving from their old stadium, but they must have taken a wrong turn because they ended up in LA. The Westside Stadium was to be the New York Jets' new stadium that they could have for themselves, and was part of a potential New York Olympics bid. It undoubtedly would have been the most incredible Olympic stadium ever built. The plan was to build it on a platform above the rail yards on the west side of Manhattan. After several disappointing designs submitted by the Swiss architectural firm Herzog and de Meuron, the Portsmouth owner said they could get in the sea. Unfamiliar with this British phrase, they took it literally, and Portsmouth Docklands Stadium is the result of that. It would have been the £600 million home of Portsmouth FC, built on reclaimed land. The cost was rather high considering Portsmouth were a second-tier team at the time, now third-tier, and due to the financial crisis in 2008-09, it proved to be too much, which is a real shame. And now the ironically named Farmers Field, because a farmer's field is an undeveloped piece of land, and this is quite the opposite. This flashy stadium was going to be built in downtown LA for a future NFL franchise. It was to feature a retractable roof and was expected to cost over $1.2 billion. Of course, LA now has the brand new SoFi Stadium, so this design will never be built. And I've got to say, I prefer this design slightly more than SoFi, just because it makes a big impression from the outside, whereas SoFi is kind of sunken into the ground. Red Star City sounds like the name of a place in a low-budget sci-fi film. It was designed to be the new home to Red Star Belgrade, by far Serbia's biggest club. This ambitious design included a shopping centre to the north and apartment and office buildings to the south. As I just mentioned, this was a very ambitious design, and so it's no surprise that it was abandoned. Although Serbia is no stranger to ambitious stadium designs, like this one that sits on top of a shopping centre. Khalifa National Stadium, not to be confused with Khalifa International Stadium, was to be located in the most prestigious part of Abu Dhabi, the capital district. This design is pretty damn cool, which is very important in the desert. Desert. I always read those ones the wrong way round. I have to remember my rule. Double S is dessert, because you're indulging in two S's like you would a cheesecake. But a dessert is... I did it again. But a desert is sparse. There's not enough moisture to sustain two S's, so there's just one. Back to it now. The roof design was going to be able to slide completely outside the stadium, so potential outdoor events could be shaded from the sun. Or the 57mm or about 2¼ inches of rain that Abu Dhabi gets per year. Yeah, it's for the sun. Estadio Nacional de Venezuela was set to become Venezuela's new national stadium. The design of the roof is very striking. It's a mix of Venezuela's national colors. The stadium was to be part of a sports complex that included a 35,000 capacity baseball stadium. However, it's no surprise that this project was never built. If you don't follow the news, Venezuela isn't in a great place right now. Well, it's in the same place it's always been, north of Brazil, east of Colombia, but financially speaking, they aren't in a great place. National Car Rental Field, kinda weird that it already had a sponsor before it was even confirmed, was designed to replace the Edward Jones Dome and become the new home of the St. Louis Rams. This would-be billion-dollar stadium was to be located on the banks of the Mississippi River. The Rams eventually moved from their old stadium, but must have taken a couple hundred wrong turns and ended up in LA. And finally, we have the most unique design on this list. Battersea Power Station was going to be the new home of Chelsea FC, if only they were able to purchase the site. Unfortunately, another bidder was favoured. This design has a bit of a Stadio Luigi Ferrari's vibe to it, and doesn't look as ridiculous as you might expect. It looks freaking cool actually. Incorporating an old building into the design of a new stadium isn't unprecedented. Detroit's Ford Field incorporates an old warehouse into its design. Anyway, it sucks that this stadium couldn't be built, but with coal being phased out in coming years, maybe another power station will be considered to become a new stadium. Probably not, because it's kinda weird. So there you have it, 10 amazing stadiums that would have been built if it wasn't for financial problems, safety concerns, or politicians that think the money is better spent elsewhere, like hospitals and schools. Anyway, that last stadium was my favourite, but please let me know which of these stadiums is your favourite. Also, if you have any ideas for a new video, I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching. Have a good one!